Well, so far we went to the steel store, got about $100 in some steel. We're not going to have the rest of it till Tuesday. I started grinding a little bit of the rust off the floor. We got the cab mounted up on this trailer here so I can work on it and grind and cut holes, and you know, basically I did this modification over here for when I had the Cadillac seat in it, and that fit the Cadillac seat. I don't know if you can see that. And so basically now everything has to change for the other seat. So gonna set that in here and see what it looks like. And then of course the other side, you can see I had to cut that whole thing out and lower it. Okay, well, got a door on just to kind of try the fit with the seat here, and the arm sort of fits, but you can't put your arm up here and reach the steering wheel, which is the way it used to be, but it used to be a lot farther over to the left, I think. Now, can't really tell. It's so hard to tell. I don't know. Got a long way to go here, that's for sure. Okay, I just cut this out. All right, now let me try and fit the seat in here again, see where I gotta go with it. Okay, so the back is cut. I'm gonna have to weld some plates on here to keep it, to steady it up. But the seat fits now, and it's really comfortable. And I've recut the floor on that side a bunch. I'm getting ready to build brackets and whatnot. Yeah, it just wasn't comfortable the way it was, and so I did have to modify this. Now, all that's going to really happen here is the sleeper is going to be up against maybe this lip now, and if need be, all I really got to do is slide the bed back just a tiny little bit, an inch or something. It was welded to the frame, so this is the front. So really, all we'd have to do is cut a little bit of this away if it hit that, and the sleeper box should fit right on there. The sleeper box sits on top of this, so, and the fuel tank sits right in there. This should work out just fine. Maybe. The old Cadillac seat. You can see it's a lot smaller, but man, this seat is so comfortable, I gotta tell you. And it looks bitchin' too. It's taken quite a bit of adjustment from where the old seat brackets were, trying to fit the new seat in here. So I'll have to fill all this back in, weld it back up and stuff, but let's see how she fits now. Well, I'm starting to piece together the puzzle. I guess I'm going to weld this stuff in here in a minute. But yeah, lots of pieces to go. I want to do some rust encapsulator though before I weld these in, get something underneath this where this rust already exists. I'll scrub it down before I start welding, and at least get a jump on some of this rust underneath here. It's really bad right there under the grinder. Like the whole top layer is just about gone. And you can see all the rust falling from up here. I've got some steel ordered. It's flexible, it's really pretty thin, and I'll be able to push it up, get rid of this, grind it out, push it up. It doesn't really matter. I don't need a window to fit, you know. It doesn't have to fit a window, so I don't really care if it's got any of the cool indentations and all that. And I'll put some steel in there and then get rid of this temporary bar that I used for a brake. So I just put some rust killer on it. I guess it encapsulates the rust. So basically I'll let that dry and put another coat on it. I didn't want to put fresh steel onto, you know, weld it onto here when there's rust. So hopefully I can encapsulate the rust and, you know, stop it. So what I've done is cut the cab, and now I'm fitting pieces to brace it up and welding them in. All right, not to toot my own horn too much, but a grinder and oh my God, this piece was kind of a pain in the butt. But check this out. Can you see that? That thing fits perfectly. All right, time to weld it in. All right, this side's done. A little Bondo, it'll be perfect. It was a real pain to weld because this metal, the original metal, is so thin that it wants to blow through every time. But there you go. It's, you know, a little Bondo and it'll be good. This was a big ass gap that I filled. Well, you can see how big of a gap it was, and I filled it. That was time consuming, but man, is it strong. I mean, it's there, it's done. It's stronger than the original probably. But here's what I got accomplished today. I got the outside and the inside of both sides of this thing, and I got the seat almost. I'm like, I got to weld a bead up there and make a part that goes in there and a little patch right there, and this side is done. And then yeah, then I can drill holes for the bolts. These I just drilled a hole and welded around it, so you know, it'd be a little bit stronger. After all, there's going to be a seat bolted to it. Getting floor pan material. All right, so now it's the Flintstone mobile. Oh, come on, really? There it is, a piece for the wall. Well, it's a lot more work, but I cut out the center section because there's some pretty bad rust right there. And while I could deal with it now and just cover it, later on it's going to bite. It's going to burn its way through. So I'm trying to get the rusted metal off of this last piece here. And when I get that stripped back, then I can add the new center section floor pan. Wow, what a job. All right, I got a bunch of the rusted pieces off of there. And now I'll just clean it all up and put some rust encapsulator on it anyway. Well, the dumbass at the metal shop, I ordered a piece and I didn't have a tape measure with me. I ordered a piece 22.5 by 21. He cut me a 22 by 21.5. So my little slot here that I was going to rest it in doesn't fit. And it hangs out too far that way now. I'm trying to get this piece to work because it's a 70-mile drive round trip to go to the metal store. So anyway, I'll try and make this piece work. I'll just slice this back some more and drag it this way. So what I've done is I've measured where the frame is going on this side, because I know I did this one while it was mounted on the cab, on the frame. So I've increased the height by 2 inches and the width by like an inch. All right, I've got the frame relief built. I've got it kind of tacked in place. I think I'll make that piece and then I'll try the seat. Okay, I'm gonna stick these seats and this thing in before I go any further, make sure everything fits. Wow, it all actually fits. So I'm pretty happy. I have to set these in here when I go to drill the holes. Yep, okay, I can keep welding, I guess. By the way, I'm cutting all of these pieces with a grinder. Straight cuts, everything. So here's my custom front piece here. And that is gonna fit right in there. That's where I'm at so far. Here's the awesome seats. Center console. I test fit everything yesterday. I just finished cutting out a bunch of rust here, so I'm making a piece to weld in there. But these floor pans, dude, this is like total custom, man. I still got to weld it all off today. I tacked it all in place. But you can see how many pieces, custom pieces, had to be made, and it all had to be measured. And this is where the frame is, so I'm down below the frame. I had to make sure that I didn't hit the frame. Yeah, nightmare. All right, primer is on, just because we're expecting a little rain maybe. Oh, I gotta prime that stuff. Uh-oh. Okay, well, I forgot a piece. But yeah, maybe a little rain coming, so I wanted to cover the bare metal. After pulling the dash out and the fan and heat and defrost and all that, yeah, lots of Swiss cheese. I mean, this is 30 years of, hey, I need this. Hey, I'm gonna put this in it. And, you know, switches and accessories and stuff. So I'm gonna have to weld up all these holes. And the other big problem is when the water was getting into these vents here, I guess there was nowhere for it to go, and it rusted holes. I don't know if you can see that, but that whole pan is rusted through. And like, if I could look down the top of that, you'd see holes all the way straight through. Let's see here. Sorry about the camera work. Yeah, you see the holes? Man. So I'm going to be into putting in a lot of work on that part for sure. Not to mention that part. Ugh. Okay, so we're missing some washers and bolts and whatnot, but no biggie. I mean, this is like aluminum, polished aluminum porn right here. This is, ooh, 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 ooh. Look at all the grade 8 bolts. Look how sexy this is, man. I took out the rusty cowl. Look at that, man. I would say that would get your feet wet inside. Then on the inside, I took a grinder with a cutoff wheel and I zinged it along the face here. So these corners I might cut out separately. Now to figure out how to get this thing back together and not leak. I made this piece right here and I'm starting to rebuild this box inside. So I have to close it off because all the water collects in that. So it's got to be a waterproof pan. Box this in, not let the water go down the channels anymore, down the side and through the vent box and all that. So I'm just going to build a kind of a box in there, and I'm going to wall it off. We'll see how that works out. So I welded these wings on this bottom plate, which was 10 inches wide. I just wanted to make sure I had enough. And then I cut some slices out of the dash here, and the same thing on the other side. And I made these wings 2 inches tall, and they stick out beyond the side so I can weld it off. I can get a good seal right there. And same thing on the other side. I've also marked with a Sharpie my line where this thing is lined up to be. So it should go back in near that same spot. I've taken my pen and just marked a line on the inside edge. And I'll leave it a little bit proud this way off that line. All right, here's my tape and here's my funky line. and I'll just cut this out the best I can. But I'm going to leave it a little proud on this side of the line, so I've got something to weld onto. So I put some gussets in here and a 1/4 inch drain hole, and I've got some barb fittings for it, so one on each side. All right, I just welded this off. It's not pretty. It's pretty, but it's not perfect, but at least it's sealed, you know. So the outside is taken care of. Ta-da! I haven't been really keeping up on the videos, but I made the bottom piece and welded it off, and got my drain plugs on there, made a patch for that. And on the inside, what I've done is I've cut slices on the extra material I had. You can see I'm starting to weld it up. I cut slices and bent it up all the way down, and I'll figure out what to do right here next, I guess, after I weld this off. I got the inside welded off. It's not pretty, but nobody's ever gonna see it, and I don't think I have any holes, so that way nobody's gonna get wet in here. Now I just have to deal with these corners somehow. I've made these 2 brackets. I'm gonna have to make these compound angles are kind of tough, but I've been beating it into submission here. So here is this one, and it's gonna go like so, and then I'll make another panel under there after I get that tacked into place. And then as far as the other side goes, it's a little more complicated. Look at this piece. I have had to beat it into submission on the vise. And this one is going to fit in something like that. I'll shoot it all again when I'm done with it. I think this is finally done. That needed 3 patch panels, and the other side only needed 2. This one is a little more elegant, whatever. It looks a little better. That one over there, I had to cut higher up to get more rust out. So it was all about rust removal. But I ground down some of the welds just so I could check them and make sure there's no leaks inside the cab. I think I got everything. Well, I drilled holes in the holder for the shifter here, and I put nuts in it, welded nuts to the back side, and welded it to there, and painted it so it won't rust, and there you have it. Now, I wish I would have gotten some pictures of it with the shifter on it, but I was in too big of a rush to finish it.